History happened everywhere. The verdict. This is our after-show podcast where we review the efforts of last week, episode 11, Portugal. So if you haven't heard that yet, go back, have a listen. Otherwise, spoilers ahead. Hello and welcome to History Happened Everywhere, The Verdict, with me, Pete Goddard, this Ryan Weir,
Hello.
And our friend and mentor, Paul Dersley. He is the voice of reason who will review our session, tell us what we got right, what we got wrong, and we'll see where we go.
Hi, Paul.
Hello, how are you?
What are you wearing today, Paul?
I'm wearing a red jumper.
Nice, that's one of my favourite colours of jumper. So, Paul, what did you think? Overall, Portugal, 300 to 400, how did we do?
I think you did pretty good.
High praise from the Dersley.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not much about war, but I suppose that was the point. There wasn't much war at the time.
I like to think I can't be held responsible for the lack of war in Portugal in that 100 years.
Yeah, although I like you got the chariot racing in at the time. By the way, the team you've forgotten was white.
Forgot the white right?
team. You'd think the white team would be the easier team to support if you're a Roman, because everyone's wearing white togas, right?
Yeah, you need a flag. I'll just wave my pants on a stick.
Go white team.
So what leapt out at you what was wrong, Mr. Dersley?
You said there were two countries in the Iberian Peninsula. That's wrong.
What are they?
Well, there are three countries definitely in the Iberian Peninsula and two possibles.
Right.
Are you counting Gibraltar here?
Well, the two possibles are Andorra and a bit of France. And Pete got it right. United Kingdom is also definitely a part of the Iberian Peninsula.
Wait, what? The United Kingdom is part of the Iberian Peninsula?
Yeah, it's how sort of desperately hanging on to this tiny rock of Gibraltar on the edge of the
I see.
Iberian Peninsula, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So where is that's a good question though. Where is Andorra? I don't know.
It's between France and Spain in the Pyrenees. It's,
what is that, like in the mountains or something?
Yes, it's one of those weird middle-age anachronisms. Well, it's not an anachronism, but one of those weird middle-age things that never seem to have been abolished, like San Marino or the Vatican City.
How these little countries didn't get absorbed by all the rampaging Frances and Spains and Germanys, and how they still exist is a wonder to me.
I think there's a way that Andorra did it because they had co-rulers, and the co-ruler was the President of France and the King of Spain.
Oh, I see. So you just have an allegiance with somebody else and you're like, they'll protect us.
I think so, because it may be different if there were huge gold reserves or bauxite reserves in Andorra.
Bauxite.
Everyone loves bauxite. We know that. So, question, Mr. Dersley, sir. Did you learn anything? What was the thing you found most surprising in your discoveries about Portugal?
Ryan's lack of knowledge.
that is
cannot
not
have been surprising at all. Of the things that were presented on the silver platter of education, which was there anything that you went, oh, I did not know that, or were you just like, yes, correct?
Oh, well, you missed the thing. Of course, is Worcestershire sauce is very close to garum.
Really? I like Worcestershire sauce, though. Wait, is there fish in
That's
Worcestershire
a true
sauce?
thing. That is something I came across in my studies because, of course, Worcestershire sauce is what it is, and you're familiar with it. And it was by no means as fishy as the fishy sauce.
Okay.
There are other things in it, but anchovies are a major ingredient of Worcestershire sauce.
But are they fermented for a month and then left in the sun?
Well, Worcestershire sauce is done for 18 months, isn't it?
How do you know so much about Worcestershire sauce?
Because I like it.
Have you ever been to the factory? Have you ever been to a factory?
Have I ever been to a factory?
Yeah,
You're allowed where the working class people are.
Yeah.
I have been to a brewery. I've been to multiple vineyards and wineries, but there seems to be a theme developing there.
So how do you feel about Just the Roman era. Is that a period that interests you, or just something you were forced to learn as a child?
Both. Yeah, the latter led to the former. So, you always used to have your little topic about Rome, didn't you, in the Roman Empire? And, I did do a bit of Latin as well. And, well, Latin was a weird O level, as you never had to speak a word of the language. You never even had to write a word of Latin. It was all from Latin to English. But a lot of that was sort of there was a history paper with it, and that sort of just got my interest.
Like, where would you have fitted into society?
That's a great question. Paul, you're coming into our Portuguese Lusitanian society.
Yeah.
Where do you slot in?
Well, there are two sides to that question. There's where do I think I'd slot in, and where does everybody else think I'd slot in? And I would think that there would be quite a difference between them.
Where do you fancy yourself in a Lusitanian Roman situation?
A proconsul.
What's that?
Effectively the governor of a Roman province.
Oh, okay. So you're in charge. You got to make all the decisions.
Well, it was generally a very corrupt thing, and to be proconsul was you were offered a proconsul after you had been one of the consuls, and it was sort of a gift, and because the proconsuls could make up the rules basically and collect the taxes and not send as much tax to Rome as they collected, and it was sort of classed as a thank you, because I think being a consul was quite a shitty job, but a proconsul was, I'm not sure of the term, but you got something like 3 or 5 years running a province, so you were effectively in charge of that province or king of that province.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too terrible.
But saying that, I'd probably be some sort of citizen.
Not a slave.
Not a slave, no.
Okay.
It's high ambition.
Not non-military though, I'm guessing. I don't see you in the tortoise.
I could see him. I could see Paul with a scutum. He's got a scutum over him. He's like, come on, I don't want these arrows coming in.
So let's get back to judging Pete.
Yes. So
I want to judge Pete some more.
I think there must have been something you didn't know before that you did know afterward.
I didn't know about the old Portuguese hero.
Viriatus.
Yes.
So, side note on this Viriatus, the people of the town from which Viriatus originated apparently pronounce all V's as B's or the other way around, as sort of homage to their man Viriatus.
So he was Bariatus.
Oh, that's quite common in a lot of languages, isn't it? Because B is a substitute for V and vice versa.
But apparently they're really, in the town where Viriatus is from, they're super obsessed with him. They're like really into it.
Still now?
To this day.
Okay, right.
So you weren't aware of this Hispaniolic hero?
No, and it's sort of the Ibera Celts or Celtiberos, whatever.
The Celtiberians, right?
Yeah, that actually, I didn't realise the Celts got that far south. They're up in the Bilbao area. They still are around there. Was part of the It's still part of the Celtic fringe, isn't it?
I mean, in my mind, I'm picturing Celts like Braveheart or whatever.
Yeah, you've got woad on your face. I know it.
That's what I'm imagining now. Still in Bilbao.
Yeah, I actually. Yeah, I'd say take that back that I didn't know anything, because that's bollocks, because I knew the Celts were bigger than we originally sort of that you think about them now. And I actually had a look at pulled it up, and the Celts were absolutely enormous. They sort of ranged from the west of Ireland all the way through to Anatolia.
Paul, you're going to have to grade this because I'm getting itchy feet. Last week you gave me on the verdict for, where was it, Vietnam. You gave it, what was it, a C?
Generous.
I gave it a C+.
A C+,
a generous C+.
Well, no, that you gave it a generous C+.
I
He gave it a
generous.
C+.
He was being generous. It was his first go. He wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, fine. So where do you fit in this one? Where's Portugal fit into your grading?
B+.
Oh, come on. I'm never going to live that down,
gosh.
Paul.
I'm just, look, I don't want to.
What's that based
I
on?
don't want to pull rank Ryan, but that's definitely better than yours.
Well, by the fact that it's, yes,
Yeah, that's
a
that's.
grade
I mean,
better
this is
than
why
me.
we measure these things so that we know that mine was better than yours.
What could I have done better to be better than Pete's Portugal score?
Okay, this is not. I guess this isn't to do necessarily with the content, but I like the little skits that you do in them. Although I've got no idea where that arsehole with a weird voice came from in your little skit this time. I was shouting at you every time you said Pliny.
Pliny, the elder, better than the younger.
It doesn't sound right with Pliny. Also, he wasn't a doctor, though. He was a historian. So we shouldn't. That sketch was wrong, and therefore he should be Dr. Point.
He was.
He was not a doctor.
Well, technically, nobody was a doctor then.
Right. The best thing about your entire episode was the thing that was wrong. I'm saying it should be a C+ because the Pliny sketch, the thing that you liked the most, wasn't factually
Just
accurate.
a sketch. It was actually
Doesn't
just
matter.
a sketch. In fact,
I would have thought that he would have got more annoyed by that.
I wanted to concede that was a sketch.
Paul, please
Well,
step in and.
if you do not wish to take my grade, that's fine.
I just want an honest grade. I just don't feel like. I feel like you two are working. You've got some sort of hidden agenda.
Look, Paul. Look, just because you're sitting on a golden chariot that I sent you should not influence your vote.
Sent you a massive.
That's just
bottle
because
of garum.
there is you're literally drizzled in garum right now. It should not influence how you feel about the episode. That's all I'm saying.
Well, no, of course not.
Does the grade stand, Paul?
He's just doing garum. He can't think straight. He's so coated in fish sauce.
Slipping around the floor.
He's not got a control of his own
fish.
Of the grade stands. I'm not going to change my mind.
Ah.
I just enjoyed the episode more.
Because of all of the things I did. I thank you kindly for your judgment, Headmaster Dersley. You're absolutely correct, obviously.
Yeah.
I can only say you're going to really love next week's.
Bless you.
Honestly, it opened my eyes to loads of things. So I'm looking forward to hear what you have to say.
Ryan, I know I wasn't I wasn't scoring officially the ones, but the one that's best so far is Hungry. And I told you that would have got an A-.
Stop banging on about Hungry, please. That's just other contributors are not happy to hear that.
That would have got an A-.
A-, that's true. I've got an A-.
But the thing that did make me laugh was when you said, now, what comes into your mind when I say Lusitania?
Why does that make you laugh?
Because you said, I love Lucy.
That was genuinely funny. I thought I was going to get a banker result.
Well,
the Lusitania.
Do you know what? I've actually had texts from friends texting me going, I know what the Lusitania was.
Well, there's quite a lot. There's quite a lot of controversy about the Lusitania, of course.
Tell us a fact. What do you mean?
Well, was there a conspiracy that the British sort of deliberately made Lusitania a bit more vulnerable than it may have been?
Oh, what? To like influence the direction of the war?
Yes.
Wow. That's proper conspiracy stuff. Not like your conspiracy stuff from the Portugal episode, which wasn't an actual conspiracy.
That was an actual conspiracy. Also, side note, that was not a Portuguese conspiracy. It was an actual British conspiracy, wherein the genuine people supposedly stopping the Picts from coming into the UK went, no, we're not going to do it. That's a good. How could that be less? Actually, side note, Paul, were you aware of the Great Conspiracy? Because I'd never heard of that.
What Great Conspiracy?
The Great Conspiracy, where the Picts come roaming into England because the Romans on the wall went, no, I'm not interested. I'm just going to stop.
Oh, yeah. I'm just, as a sort of side note to the side note, have you ever been to Vindolanda up on the border?
I walked past it, but I was so tired I couldn't go in.
Oh, you missed a trick there. It's brilliant.
I didn't really. I was so tired. My legs hurt really a lot.
I don't know what either of you are talking about.
Roman ruins.
Okay.
So some of us walked along Hadrian's Wall, and there's a place called Vinlandia.
Oh, I've been there. I have. I've been there.
I'm stopping this conversation right now.
No, I have. Yeah, I stopped there and had a look around. It was cool.
Yeah, yes.
So I'm not doing myself any favours, am I? Okay, so let's summarise this up. Paul, can you summarise Pete's Portugal podcast, which is a nice piece of alliteration there, in 3 words?
Can I pop a few suggestions in?
No.
Brilliant, genius, amazing.
What 3 words, Paul?
Not much war.
Brilliant.
That is
I
accurate.
like that.
That is accurate. I all my instincts wanted to oppose that, and then my brain went, "No, that is exactly true."
Love it. Paul,
Yes.
you're the best.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Speak to you next week.
Yeah, okie dokie.
Pete, anything else to add?
No, I'd just like to say thank you for being on.
History happened everywhere.
The verdict.
Thanks for listening to History Happened Everywhere. I'm Ryan and he's Pete. And if you want to get in touch with either of us, you can do that through hhepodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can use HHE Podcast in any of the usual social media.
That's right. And, if you did enjoy the show and you enjoy it, let's help spread the word, get more people coming. And you can do that by rating and reviewing at your podcast provider.
We'd love to hear what you think, as long as it's nice.
Yeah, please be nice.
Be nice.
We're
Be kind.
very sensitive.